The Philadelphia Phillies got bad news on Zack Wheeler over the weekend, and ever since that news, they have rallied. They have rallied as a team from the bullpen to the starters to every aspect of this team, and it is one of their best offensive runs of this season, and it could not come at a better time. I'm going to just dive into what is happening right now with this Phillies team because they are surging right now. Everything looks great. Everyone's hitting the ball well, and it's big in a time where the Mets are struggling, the division lead is going up, and the Phillies are really setting themselves up to hopefully start to close out this NL East maybe earlier than we thought. But I did just kind of want to dive into what is really going on. Obviously, the news comes out about Zack Wheeler on Saturday in regards to a blood clot in his right upper extremity. He went through a successful procedure on Monday. He was at home resting over the last few days. Rob Thomson said that he was talking to Wheeler, and after a procedure like that, you're a little all over the place. But he said Wheeler's in good spirits. The procedure was extremely successful, and we will now wait for a further timeline. And I think when you lose an ace like the Phillies lost Zack Wheeler, they could have folded. They could have, just kind of gone through the motions. But they rallied for Wheeler, and it started this weekend, and it really showed in the Mariners series. Just to really start it off, the biggest thing right now is the offense. The Phillies got 21 hits on Monday. They got 20 hits on Wednesday. In the modern era, the last time before this, they had 2 games in the same series. The 20-plus hits would be never. Baseball is crazy sometimes. Yes, Jason Stark, you're absolutely right. Baseball is crazy sometimes. Phillies offense since August 1st. Bryson Stott is really leading the way. Stott, ever since the birth of his second child, has just been on one. They went through some mechanical changes. His hands are a lot lower at the plate, and he's finally starting to drive through the baseball again. Bryson Stott, since August 1st, 354 batting average, 429 on base percentage, and a 563 slugging percentage for a 991 OPS. Max Kepler, a guy who was on the chopping block about 2 weeks ago, basically went into, screw it mode. It's either he gets probably released or he turns it up. He really only has 2 options. And he went with option number 2, 324, 342, 568 with a 910 OPS since August 1st. Trea Turner, the hottest hitter on planet Earth right now. I'm going to dive a little bit more into Trea right now, but this guy is on an absolute heater. 366 batting average in August, a 422 on base percentage, and a 549 slugging percentage for a 971 OPS. JT Realmuto is on a heater right now. 328, 391, 500 with an 891 OPS. Bryce Harper, 253, 313, 547 with an 860 OPS. Kyle Schwarber hit Schwarber number 45 the other night. 253 batting average with a 329 OBP and a 627 slugging percentage since August 1st with a 956 OPS. Brandon Marsh rounding it out here. 292, 314, 521 with an 835 OPS. There's some other guys in there as well. Alec Boehm has hit pretty well since coming back from the IL. I would say the only one right now struggling is Harrison Bader, even though he did have a few hits yesterday. So Nick Castellanos has been dealing with a little knee thing, so it seems like Bader's going to get a little more run here. I know Castellanos said Bader's been a little frustrated just with how he's been hitting at the plate, hopefully he gets that figured out. But right now, these guys are really carrying this offense. But I really wanted to dive into Trea just a little more because Trea Turner is the hottest hitter on planet Earth right now. Last 7 games, he's 21 for 34 with 7 RBIs and just 3 strikeouts. He has more stolen bases over the last 7 games than he has strikeouts. He's hitting 618 over his last 7 games with a 639 on base percentage and an 824 slugging percentage. That comes out to a 1463 OPS right there over the last 7 games. 462 batting average over the last 15 games, .349 batting average over the last 30 games. He's 45 for 129 with 2 homers, 19 RBIs, and 22 strikeouts. .512 slugging percentage over the last 30 games. Trea has been on an absolute heater. And one of my favorite parts about Trea, from this past little week is he got asked about, just the situation of Zack Wheeler going down. And, I think a lot of times in situations like these, you can just sort of kind of tend to fall back and go through the motions. And Trea was honest, and he said, no, everybody can't even keep playing how they've been playing. Everybody needs to be better now. And the Phillies have done that. He said back on Monday, he said, we don't have to rely on one person. We can all step up a little. We can all play a little better defense. We can pitch a little better. We can all hit a little better. Play as a team. If we all pick up a little bit of the slack, we can get the job done, from Matt Gelb of The Athletic. But, this team's in a good spot. And, moving into the rotation a little bit as well. In a time where Zack Wheeler once again goes down, Christopher Sanchez turns into, the number one starter. Ranger Suarez has to be better. Jesus Luzardo has to be better. In their 3 games versus the Seattle Mariners, 19 innings pitched, 13 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks to 34 strikeouts. Every Phillies pitcher that faced off against Seattle, Suarez, Sanchez, Luzardo, had 10-plus strikeouts. It's the first time Phillies starters have 10-plus strikeouts in 3 straight games since at least 1893. It's a pretty damn good time to break that over, 100-something year record the day after you lose your number 1 ace Cy Young candidate in Zack Wheeler. And, this couldn't have come at a better time for the Phillies. The NL East standings as they stand right now. Phillies at the top, 74-53, 21 games over 500, 40-21 at home. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and they hold a 6.5 game lead currently on the New York Mets, who are 67-59 on the year, faltering a little bit last 10, 4-6. And, although they struggled a little bit with them in just a really odd series in Washington, the Phillies now have 3 games to continue to build this lead against the Nationals. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, home series against the Nationals coming up this weekend. But this Phillies team is surging. And once again, I just can't continue to give them enough credit over the last 3 to 4 games for rising to the occasion in a certain situation where, you could have faltered and you could have just stayed pat. When you lose a guy and a clubhouse leader and a person like Zack Wheeler for who knows how long. But this team has thrived, and they've looked like a team that can win the World Series. This team can win the World Series. We see their highs, we see their lows. It's a 7-month season. It's the ebbs and flows of a baseball season. But this team deep down could always have won a World Series. They added, obviously, Durant at the deadline. They added Bader at the deadline. And guys that, or possibly DFA options a few weeks ago, maybe even in a guy like Max Kepler, has really started to step up here. And it's been just ginormous for this team. Once again, in August, Bryson Stott, 991 OPS. Max Kepler, 910 OPS. Trea Turner, 971. Realmuto, 891. Harper, 860. Schwarber, 956. Marsh, 835. These guys are surging, and it couldn't come at a better time. Win it for Wheels. Go sweep the Nationals this weekend, and let's end this NL East race, maybe a little earlier than we possibly could have. This has been the newest episode of Phillies Digest. Once again, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel already, please do so. If you have made it this far, I apologize for the little base bar down here. I forgot to update it for this video. So it honestly probably says the Phillies are in second in the NL East standings. They're not. I'll have it updated for next video. But with that, this has been the newest episode of Phillies Digest, and I will see you guys next time.